What my job to do today, guys, is to talk about customer gathering. And what we all need to understand is what our purpose here is, and what Just Energy's purpose is, and Momentous. Momentous did this for one reason and one reason only. It was not to be a big network marketing company. It was to gather quality, sticky customers. Now, what we have to understand is that the way we gather and we teach others to gather will greatly change your income level over the next 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years. The great thing about network marketing is you can duplicate something that's good and it can change your life. The bad thing is you can duplicate the wrong thing and you'll never be able to get it stopped. Last night we had our TPC dinner and we were sitting and we were talking, and Andy started talking about the top money earners for the year, and about halfway through the meeting he said how much Marty's, and don't worry, I'm not going to say it, but he said how much Marty's residual was, and I almost passed out. I mean, it was like really big. And it was really big in 15 months. And there might be somebody else that has the same size organization that does not have the same residual. It's duplicating the right thing over and over again. We've never talked about the way he did it, but I bet you some of this is involved in it, in creating sticky customers and doing the right thing over and over again. First thing we're going to talk about is the rates. Guys, if you live by the rates, you will die by the rates. Okay? So many times we want to talk about the rates, what's our pricing. You know, I heard Earl Shaw one day come into office and he goes, and for those of you who have heard Earl talk, he goes, Tim, you know, he talks, Tim, what's everybody so caught up on a half a kilowatt? I don't understand it. I used to get people to pay $5,000 to buy water purification systems 20 years ago. $5,000. Is that what you said, Earl? And we get caught up on a little bit of a rate. What you have to understand is your friends and family don't want to be sold. They're sold every day. Okay? So you don't want to sell them. You want to base this off of relationships. Don't sell your friends and family. See if we can get this thing to go here. Relationship marketing. We're looking for a handful of customers. Mother, brother, cousin, sister, neighbor to right, neighbor to left. Whoever loves you the most and whoever owes you the most. You should never have to go cold market for a customer. If you're going to cold market for a customer, Just Energy can do that with door knocking. That's not what they want us to do. They want us to get a handful of customers that will never leave us because they're helping us out. We do 3 things. We ask them for a small favor, we tell them it involves our help, and then we give them our why. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, we will always go back to our why. The number one thing Andy McWilliams talked about was your why. The number one thing that Philip talked about was your why. If you want to get customers and you want to get all your customers in one day, you'll get them with your why. Ms. Brown, are you here? Is there a Ms. Brown here? Come up here real quick. Ms. Marion. You know, I learned something when I was in the UK last week. Was when I was around talking to people was their whys. You know, we were in a meeting one day and we're sitting there talking, and this meeting had taken place for 8 or 9 hours, and I walked in at the end of the meeting and I was listening to their whys, and everybody in the meeting was from Zimbabwe, and their why was they all wanted to drill a well in their hometown because so many of their family members had died of different diseases from not having the proper water. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a why. Or I hear somebody talking about they'd walked out of Croatia years earlier and they were trying to get the rest of their family moved around. And you start hearing people's whys and you understand their success. Now, if you call a family member and you truly have a why, I'm talking about a why that you can't even hardly talk about on the phone, who would deny you of being your customer? Right. Okay? But so many times we don't want to do that. We don't want to humble ourselves down and do that. We're too big, we're too proud, we're too young, we're too old. Whatever it is, we can't ask for a favor. They'll loan you money, they'll babysit your kids, they'll give you a kidney. Ask them for a small favor and tell them your why. I want to get this mic real quick. If you could take 1 minute, I think it's on, and from right here, tell us from the bottom of your heart why you do this business.
First of all, my name is Marion Brown. I'm a registered nurse, 45 years of a registered nurse. I don't have a dime or a penny for any one of those hundreds of patients that I took care of. So I want to thank God first for the privilege of being born in this United States of America. Next, I want to thank Momentous for Andy McWilliams, because he is our CEO. Last of all, I want to thank Bishop McLeod and Lady Tina for the invitation and the presentation that was given to me and my daughter. Being a nurse all those years, I care for people, and I care for everyone. My why is that I deserve more than Social Security.
Right on.
I worked with nurses, with patients, 9 hours a day, 12 hours a day for over 45 years. But I look real good for that, and I feel real good for that. And my why is that I have a daughter. She worked also 32 years as a nurse. She has a disability. She doesn't look like it because she's so beautiful like me. And she cannot get insurance because she has a previous illness. So my why is that I'm a United States citizen, I deserve Momentous, and I'm going to make Momentous work. It is already working. I'm just going to make it work. It is my job. And if you want it, you better make it your job, okay? Because this Momentous is my heart. And it's going to make me the person I should be and want to be. And I thank you so much for this opportunity. I thank you.
Thank you very much. You're great. So today I'm walking around and I'm just asking people, why are you doing this business? Why are you doing this business? And I asked her, I said, why are you doing this business? She said, let me tell you why I'm doing this business. And she got to talking and talking. I said, would you mind if I brought you up? She goes, put me up there. Put me up there. Now my point is when Ms. Marion calls her nephew, I don't know her nephew's number or his name, but she calls her nephew. And let's say his name's Mike. And she calls and she goes, hey, Mike, this is your Aunt Marion, and I need a small favor. Okay, I've been nursing for 45 years. I can't pay my bills. My daughter doesn't have insurance. I need you to become my energy company. Now, hey, Mike, before you answer, there's nothing going to change. You know, the only thing that's going to change is the color of your bill. Same guy's going to read the meter, okay? You're going to get the bill the same time each month. More importantly, you're helping me out, and you're helping my daughter get insurance. Can I count on you? What do y'all think she's going to say? He's going to say, yes. And that's the way you get a customer. And let me tell you something real quick. If he says no, I bet she goes over to his house, okay? Now, I'm serious. She should go to his house, and she should knock on the door and say, you hurt my feelings. I need to talk to you. And he's going to say, about what? I ask you to help me out. I ask you for a small favor. I ask you to help me change my life. And basically what you told me is that if I got a gas station and on the other side of the street and a stranger put a gas station right next to us and we were both $3.20 a gallon, that you would buy gas from that stranger and put shoes on their baby's feet before you'd put shoes on my baby's feet. Because that's what your friends and family are saying when they say no. And I'll tell you what, if you do that and you go get on somebody's butt, they'll be your customer. 90% of the time, they'll be your customer when you ask them for a favor. But if they say no, turn that no into a yes. And I guarantee you, I challenge everybody, ask that man how he created the biggest residual in the company, and half the time the company was open, and they're sticky customers. Okay, moving on. Who do you write a check to? This is the other way we get customers. Do you write a check for your garbage guy, for your lawn service, for your accountant? These are people you do not have to ask to become your customer. You tell them to become your customer. I write you a check, you make money. You're going to become my customer, it costs you nothing. The second thing we do is we turn no's into yeses. So if I'm doing a presentation and I'm sitting there doing it for Antoine, and I get finished and Antoine goes, I see the opportunity, but it's just not for me. I'm going to say, well, I'll tell you what, Antoine, can you help me out and can you become my customer? And he's going to say yes. And you know why he's going to say yes? Because he thinks he saved $399. Always turn a no into a yes. And the second thing is daily marketing. As you walk around in your life and people say, what do you do for a living? I help people save money on their energy bills. I help people save money on their energy bills. I show people how to make money on their energy bills. And what you'll find is in years 2 and 3 and 4, customers will come to you naturally, okay? Month to month versus contract. Guys, this is one thing that you always need to understand is your obligation to the consumer, okay? We can't tell them what to do. But what I can tell you is if you put your friends and family on a month-to-month contract, you're setting them up for a disaster. What I've done my entire life is I've rebuilt homes in hurricanes and earthquakes. Does anybody remember Hurricane Ike that hit Houston 4.5 years ago? Does anybody remember that? Electricity went from 9 cents a kilowatt to 20 in 3 months when that took place. Companies went out of business. Energy companies went out of business. People switched. So what you have to understand is the longer contract that you put your friend and family in, the more you're protecting them and giving them a sense of security. It's not that they're locked in. They got Ken Hartwick locked in. They got him. I mean, so that's the way you have to look at this is they have Just Energy locked in. Guys, this is the last thing we're going to end with, and I believe it is the biggest product that this company has. And it's probably one of the least used that we don't recognize enough, and that's called energy freedom. Energy freedom means that you can simply go out and gather a handful of energy customers over your first year, and once you've done that, you can get a monthly check. Here in Texas, it's $150 month after month after month. And 6 months ago, I was doing a presentation. I was in the Vietnamese consulate in Houston. And the gentleman I was doing the presentation for, his name was Mr. Quy. And I'm sitting there doing discovery, and I found out he's got a doctorate, and he's a Princeton graduate. And I'm thinking, I feel really stupid talking to this guy because I can't even talk right. And I start going through the presentation. And I get to the 20 customers and $150 a month, and he goes, I'm in. I go, I haven't showed you the presentation. He goes, I'm in. $399 capital investment, $150 a month, $1,800 a year, 400% interest. I'm in. And I thought that's why he makes money for a living. Okay? But we don't think that way. Don't clap unless you got energy freedom. That's what we all have to do. If you don't have energy freedom, get it. $1,800 a year, that's life-changing. Okay? It's life-changing. That's my job to talk about customers. I'm done. I want to leave you with one thing. So many times people say, I wished I would have been there 12 months ago. You probably don't wish that. You might have quit because it was hard. But what I can tell you is some of the top leaders in our company right now have only been here for a short time. I heard a chant going back out of Ohio a while ago called freedom. Where are they at? They weren't here last year. They weren't here. When we were in Anaheim, we did not hear the chant because they weren't even in yet. They got in 6 or 7 months ago, they took advantage of it, and they ran. And they're here to stay. Don't talk about I'm in late. Don't talk about I'm in late. The opportunity is now. Okay, the opportunity is now. Thank you very much. God bless. And one last thing, I want to thank my beautiful wife for allowing me to work this as hard as I can. And I want to thank Antoine McBay for partnering up with me 15 months ago. Antoine, I love you. Guys, knock it out of the park.